And we are live, coming to you on your TVs in Texas, in the great state of Texas and Louisiana, on Smart Money Culture TV, as well as streaming around the world on X and on YouTube and LinkedIn and all these other great places. There does seem to be a bit of a breathing of the markets. And we'll, of course, have the great Matt Dixon on in a bit. But I do think that will probably continue for a bit as we start to, as the title says, the markets breathe as Israel and Ukraine wait for the war piggy bank to be filled. Can the wars be stopped? That's really what happening. We have they're just waiting for this bill to come through. I did a little bit of math for everybody last night on my X account, which is obviously one of my favorite places to do this. And I put it out there. So I'm just I'll share my screen with my math here. Everybody can see. But this bill costs, these bills, it's a bill, it's one bill, I think. They cost an average family of four $1,000, over $1,000 actually. And here's what I did here. Let me just get to the actual post. Can you see my screen, David? Can you see my screen?
Let's see. Yes, of course.
Okay, yeah. Great.
Yeah, your Twitter account. It looks like some big numbers.
Israel gets 26 billion. Ukraine gets 61 billion. It's a total of $87 billion. And if you divide 87 billion by 335 million Americans, you get $259 per person, including kids. So the average family with two kids is $259 plus our times 4. So $1,038. Now remember, they just did this. They just passed this a couple of months ago, I think in January, and that was $100 and something billion. So that was more like $1,300 per family. Okay. I said, are you mad yet? I'm mad. I hope you guys are mad. This is on top. This is the tax. This tax right here is actually levied by the central bank. So the central bank says, no problem. We'll front the money for your wars. Not even our wars. For the wars of Israel and Ukraine. And we'll just tax the Americans. They'll never figure it out. We'll just tax the Americans from inflation. And that's the situation we have ourselves in. And really, I don't think that the wars will stop. I mean, obviously, I said, can the wars end? I don't think the wars can stop as long as we have this system of a central banking cartel that is really in charge. They can tax us Americans as they see fit, as whenever they want. They can just mint up more money and send it over there. Now, this $1,000, I'm going to share my screen again. This $1,000 is on top of the tax that you just paid on April 15th. Okay, so this is extra. And again, they did it another $1,000 or basically $1,200 per family. They did that again in January. Okay, so and guys, if you think that this is expensive, just wait. Yes, sir. Every day, Monday through Friday, we do the show. Just wait until the reconstruction. The reconstruction is going to make this look cheap. Because it's cheap to tear things down. It's expensive to build things up, to build things back. It's expensive. So I can't get that through everybody's head enough. This is cheap. The reconstruction is going to be massively expensive. And it's going to be on your back. And they're going to pay for it through in the tax of inflation. The extra $1,000 a month is going to be monthly. Right now, it's like they tried to do it last month, but they didn't really get it through last month. So then it was like kind of every other month. January, skipped February, then it was March. They tried to do it in February too, actually. So they didn't get it through in March either. So now they're going to get it through. It's going to pass because maybe that's even why they bombed the consulates. Who knows? It's all it's all about the money and power. And that's why I put the great Ron Paul up here behind me and the Fed, because the Federal Reserve is how it's all happening. If the Federal Reserve was not allowed to be here, which it's not allowed, we're not supposed to have a central bank. The founders set it up, no central bank, in the Constitution and everything. But they passed the Federal Reserve Act in the dead of night on a Friday in 1913, right after they sank the Titanic. Right after the Titanic mysteriously sank with all the opposition. Then they passed the Federal Reserve Act and they installed the central bank. The central bankers said, don't worry about your money problems. We'll pay for we'll give you as much money as you want. We'll print however much money as you want. And Woodrow Wilson and the guys folded. And the next year, in 1914, there was World War I. And we've basically been at conflict since, with small, short, brief pauses. The thing about it is that war is so profitable. And the reason why war is so profitable is one of the reasons why is because people get so emotional about it. Well, a lot of people are dying. It's understandable. It is human to get emotional about it. Okay. And then it's easy to pass things. And then people as well, they don't understand now that you have the central banking set up. If they came to you, knocked on your door and said, hey, Mr. American family, we need another $1,000 to pay for the wars in the Ukraine and Israel. You would say, no, I don't have $1,000. Most people. And our kids are in the Army. You're right. People have blinders on the fact that our kids are in the Army. It's actually so small amount of kids that are in the Army. Our Army is small right now. But our kids are in the Army. So, of course, yeah, you get emotional about it. But that's nothing. If this thing blows up, which it really has the potential to blow up. I mean, the Ukraine and Russia is one thing. You have like Putin is not the Ayatollah. I don't know how else to say that. He's like, we're not. And as well, Ukraine is not Israel. I mean, you see the rhetoric coming out of Israel. It's like unbelievable. We got to dissolve this war cabinet. We got to keep going and going, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, just like, guys, you guys need to chill out. There's like how many Israelis over there? Like 20 million Israelis? 30 million Israelis? Do you guys really think you're going to kill 1.3 billion Muslims? I don't think so. And you're going to drag us in there, and our kids are going to be dying over it. It won't be the first time. I don't know how to get the cooler heads out there. The markets do seem to be breathing, though. Everybody is tentatively holding on, like, okay, maybe. Now, and I will say this: once the 86 or 87 billion dollars gets passed, then the markets are going to respond pretty nicely, because a lot of that, more than likely, unless we have some major wars right off, because a lot of that money is going to end up into risk assets like Bitcoin, like gold, like some of the other things. So quick market look in here. As I mentioned, the markets are breathing. Crypto is very good indicator, all in all. now of sentiment. Manipulated too, but Bitcoin is down a bit at down about 2%. But depending on where you toggle this is up. Depending on what time zone you're in. I don't know what time zone my my thing is on here. I was just looking; it was up. It went down below 60,000, which is again one of the levels that we talked about. I think personally, XRP is one to watch. I think this one is going to make a pretty big move here, quickly, down 1%. So down less than 1.3%, less than Bitcoin. 48 cents. I'm looking for a move there. So all I could do not to open a 10x long last night. Solana 131. Yeah, I mean these, we'll see how the day comes out. I'm sure Matt has some more insight for us. Gold is up slightly. Gold is up slightly. 23.92. Silver is up slightly as well. Oil is down. Oil is noticeably down. The Houthis, Iran has pulled back its ship. Hong Kong Stock Exchange is up. Iran has pulled out one of its spy ships, or reported spy ships, from the Red Sea. Depending on who you're talking to, 81. We're moving down here. Depending on who you talk to, that is strategic or whatever. It did suffer a cyber attack a couple of months ago, I think, or a month ago, or a bit ago, and as well, I think that possibly Iran is trying to pull back some pressure from the situation. That's my take on it. Let's bring on the great Matt Dixon. Sir Matt the Great, how are you?
Hello, good morning. Very good, thank you. Yeah, a lot to talk about today. So
there is a lot to talk about, and I wanted to mention earlier. So Max Stenikov with the CC Forum is going to join us at about a quarter towards the hour. Just so you know.
Okay, I'll keep it reasonably short then. But wondering about Israel, what's happening there? It seems to have gone very quiet just at the moment.
Yes, they're waiting for their money. Don't want to make too many big moves.
I mean, that was interesting. I noticed that you talk about this big spending of 86 billion, is it, you said? And
87.
I noticed the arms sales last year from America were 81 billion.
Yeah.
That's from arms sales.
It's crazy because somebody actually commented and they said, well, that's like 1% of the DoD budget. And I say, really? I don't think so, man. And I did a little quick check in the DoD budget. And of course, they have all kinds of hidden stuff in there too, but it's about 700, 800 billion. So it's 10% of a DoD budget. And this is the second time that we've done it. Of course, we did it in January too. So that's 20, and then January is bigger. So that's 25% of the annual DoD budget. I mean, these are massive numbers.
Yeah. Let me just see. Are you able to see my screen? Let me just put that up again.
Oh yeah, look at that. You're underwater, Matt.
Yeah, so I won't waste much time on this because we haven't got much time. But this is some of the luxury villas in Dubai. So you can see they're very much underwater there.
Wow.
The rain is subsiding, but it's just amazing how much sand is left. I tried driving out last night. You can't get far because there's still too much water everywhere. And there's also big sandbanks being deposited on major highways. So you just, it's really, really difficult. As I say, I saw sinkholes where cars had just disappeared into these sinkholes. This is downtown. Some of the metro stations being flooded. All public transport is basically closed at the moment.
So is this when are these pictures from? Are they from today or are they?
This is mostly from yesterday.
Okay.
So you can see it's a sunny day. The rains have stopped now, and it's very sunny, and it's beginning to dry out. Although I did hear there may be some more rain on the way soon. So
did you have to get out on the roads at all, Matt?
I tried to get out on the roads. I just couldn't get far. I mean, I'm trying to get, there's so many crypto events on right now. You've probably heard Token 2049, stuff like this. Really good events that a lot of people have flown into. I had one friend had flown in yesterday. He was 12 hours trying to get out the airport because, of course, the runways themselves were flooded, and I just don't even know how any aeroplanes landed. They cancelled most, I know, but I don't know how anyone got on in here. So you're being looked after, Bruce, by your decision not to come, because it's nobody is really getting anywhere. All the people who came in with high hopes of meeting and going to these conferences, no one's really so far done anything. Tomorrow probably will be the first day that we're able to get around and do anything.
Crazy. Now, is tomorrow the first day of scheduled first day of Token 2049?
Yeah, I think so. So hopefully things should. I mean, I'm going to try to go to an event tonight, but I just got an update on the roads, and still most of the roads are closed. They're just beginning to open parts of the Sheikh Zayed, which is the main road through Dubai, and you can see here the state of things.
Doesn't seem worth it to drive. I've seen so many cars stuck, and nice cars. You see the Lamborghini SUVs.
Oh, it's amazing. They're completely
I hope they're getting an
underwater.
insurance claim.
Lambos are the first to get buried.
Right. Yeah, from what did Lisa here? Wow, are they doing Token 2049? Token 24, she called it, the conference. Then they're gonna go ahead and do it, but it's gonna be.
Well, it's surprising actually how fast. It's surprising how fast Dubai bounced back from these things. We've had serious rains before. This is supposed to be the worst since they've been keeping records about 73 years ago. I think this is the worst they've had. But they've had rains. They have rains most years, and not as bad as this, of course. But they have to deal with these situations. So they're pretty good at clearing up.
I saw one statistic. It was 5 or 6 months of London rain happened all in one day there in Dubai.
Yeah, it was truly amazing. I mean, there's no words really to give for it. It's just sad that there were some lives lost. There were reportedly 19 lives lost. I know that doesn't sound a lot, but for 19 families and friends and whatever, and the people themselves.
That's horrible. In Dubai or in the UAE or what?
I understand that was in Dubai. They have been across UAE, of course, and Qatar as well. So,
prayers for their family.
Just going back to the charts. Just Israel as well. I wasn't quite sure because I'd heard some reports that some of those Iranian missiles did get through, but I'm not really sure how true that is. And there's obviously misinformation on both sides, so I don't know. So there's been no response yet from Israel. The markets appear to be treading water, and I suppose the big question is: have the markets bottomed now? Are we going to head higher, or is the lower to go? And it's a little bit of it's a difficult question, but just interestingly, yesterday, do you remember we measured from top to bottom here, 100% transfers from top to bottom here, and we said the target was 59,600 or something. And you can see, you can't hit it. Yeah, it hit it precisely to the penny, basically. Hit that target. So really could be that this is the complete correction, ABC, the completed correction down, and we could then rocket to new. It's a little bit almost too perfect. I mean, it's absolutely perfect, that isn't it? The ABC there, with the measurement. Sometimes when things are just so perfect, it gives me cause for worry. And the thing is, if you had taken that though, just from a trader's perspective, you could have entered your trade on that dot there, the dollar there. Right now, we're $2,000 plus above that level. So you can now protect, even if you protected $1, $10, $100 guaranteed profit, then no matter what happens, you take $100 profit if you protected 100.
Right.
But and that's without leverage. But if the price were to then rocket higher and go to new all-time highs, you'd be massively in profit. So now, by just following that Fibonacci extension there, the 100%, going in on the 100% with the stop loss just below, obviously your stop loss wasn't hit. Now you can move that stop loss up to a guaranteed profit, and you can just let it run. As I say, worst that happens is $100, you bought yourself a nice dinner or something. Best that could happen, it could be many thousands, many thousands. Who knows where Bitcoin price could go to? So this is what trading is about. It's not about really predicting the future. It's about looking at levels for risk and reward. And so the risk on this particular trade was obviously a small downside with a very close stop loss, because that was a very important level, a good potential turning point. And the upside was very massive to the upside. Who knows, Bitcoin could go to $1 million. And if you were the person who got in here on a trade with a stop loss just below, you moved it up to guaranteed, you could be, it could be absolutely life-changing. And that's why it's really good to apply proper trading skills to your trading, and not just, go in potluck and, not know when to buy or sell or anything. The institutions are coming in, of course. As we said yesterday, we still haven't seen real retail adoption, but there are opportunities for retailers, for any ordinary people to get in, as long as they follow some good rules. And a lot of indications are given. Obviously, we've got the eBay.io website, which is crypto ratings. We've got the learnhowtotrade.club courses. Again, people can still subscribe to those. But basically, it's money well spent, because I think it's Benjamin Franklin, was it, who said that the best investment ever is an investment in education. That is your very best investment ever. So the likelihood is it's looking quite positive at the moment. So let's just hope that there isn't going to be any further major fallout for the time being in the Middle East. And let's hope that we get the rally that we've been waiting for, the crypto rally. Although we've had it. This is what we were saying yesterday. At the FTX low, 15,500 Bitcoin. It's now 60,000. So it's 400% you'd have made in a year, or just over a year, whatever it is. 400%. You don't make that money easily. And yet it was there. And again, there's opportunities to get into these markets with very little risk, as long as you know the good entry points and know how to protect. So Bitcoin's looking really good. Litecoin was one. I love Litecoin because I said that Bitcoin would make a new low here for the 100% at 59.6, which it did. But I said Litecoin won't, and we'll move on to Litecoin. I said Litecoin won't make a low below this. And don't forget, this low was already in yesterday. But Bitcoin made a new low. Whilst Litecoin was pushing higher, Bitcoin actually made a new low after this low level here. And that's what I was telling people, and telling people on the show, that it looked as though Litecoin had bottomed out. And one of the big reasons was this stop loss zone was just so typical of the big whales and market makers stopping people out by just spiking price beyond the stop loss zone, where stop losses would have been put below this low here and below this spike low here. So all the stop losses would have been placed in those levels when you're putting in buy trades up here. So people would have put in buy trades around this level. And again, a bit like the Bitcoin, you might have put in a buy trade here with a stop loss just below, or when I say just below, somewhere in this stop loss region. And in this case, you would have been stopped out because they spiked it below. But that having happened, and with that spike low, and we came back above the stop loss region, the chances were Litecoin was going to push higher. I'm not saying it won't push lower again, it really could do, but it's just showing the divergence here between Bitcoin pricing and Litecoin pricing as of yesterday and overnight.
Well, historically as well, when we get a big push down on Bitcoin, of course, the alts will bleed. But then as it goes back up, the alts skyrocket.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, Bitcoin moves down less than most and moves up less than most as well, actually. So You're right. The alts move down more than most, but they move up more than most. So you can look at the, we haven't turned around as yet. Although, as I say, Litecoin was one of the early movers, and that was, we mentioned that yesterday, that was likely to show some divergence from Bitcoin, which is absolutely what it's done. And you look at down the right-hand side here at the performances of the tokens, Litecoin is way ahead of the rest, up from the measurement here, 2.44% for today. And you got XRP down 0.97%, Solana up 0.34%, but it's still a fraction of the 2.5% Litecoin increase. where are we? Where's Bitcoin gone? Bitcoin up 0.7%. Again, just a fraction of Litecoin increase. So there's real divergence there. And that's another way people can trade. You can actually trade one token against another. So you could trade potentially Litecoin against Bitcoin. So yesterday would have been a great day, just with the chart setup that there was, a great day to go long Litecoin against Bitcoin. So if you measure your wealth in Bitcoin, you'd have actually earned more Bitcoins by this particular trade yesterday. So that was really, really good spot, I think, yesterday, even though I do say so myself. It was just on the chart pattern, that was really good. XRP, as you said, it really could explode. This was a stop out level for most people. This spiked down here, but it's then spikes lower again. We've seen movement up, and this looks like corrective movement to the downside. So you're right, XRP could explode to the upside relatively soon, and this looks like some kind of big ABC movement down from this high point here. So it wouldn't surprise me to see an XRP explosion to the upside, but that's not a recommendation to trade. There may be safer alternatives out there. Solana is yet another one that's got a lot of potential upside. Again, we kept the low yesterday. That wasn't exceeded. When I say yesterday, it was a couple of days ago now, the 13th. So 5 days ago, we saw that low. And unlike Bitcoin, which saw a low yesterday, Solana is yet another one which actually outperformed, and it stayed above there. So if we see Bitcoin pushing to the upside, then the altcoins, as we've always said from the very first show, Solana usually moves down more in percentage terms than Bitcoin and the other altcoins, but also it moves up more. So clearly we've seen it move down quite a bit from the sort of 210, 209 level here. Moved down very sharply from that $209 to $122. So big movement down percentage-wise, but possibly a really big movement up to come. That correction could be complete with an ABC. And I just misquoted myself. Actually, normally I say Solana moves down less, but moves up more. But in this case, Solana actually moved down more than most of them in percentage terms. And I think the reason behind that is the congestion that they've suffered on Solana. But the news is that much of that congestion has now been dealt with. They've put some fixes, relatively temporary fixes, but fixes in place now that came out on Monday, I think it was, that mean that the Solana network is now running more freely and should be a really positive thing for Solana. So that's really good news for those Solana fans out there. So I think the route that, if that look is looking like it could be complete correction to the downside. So if we take off to the upside, we could recover all of that we lost from $209 and go well beyond potentially. This is a fairly sizable correction.
This is like on these alts. I was looking at the charts last night. I mentioned Ripple again, but Solana as well, as you say, in some of the others. We're talking about these could go 1x. It could go 100% very quickly.
It really could. I mean,
yes.
we bottomed at 122. I think that actually the previous all-time high at 260 is very much within sight. If the market does recover, again, a bit depends on Israel and so on at the moment, but assuming we get no more bad geopolitical issues, then this correction here could soon be retraced and go beyond. And the previous all-time high was around 260, and it really wouldn't surprise me to see that. We may possibly have another final little dip down, but that's what I was saying about Bitcoin yesterday. We may have another final dip down, which happened, and now we appear to be pushing higher. Just going back to Bitcoin, we appear to be pushing quite a bit higher. We're now over $2,000 off that low of last night. So it's looking reasonably positive. And then we'll check in with gold. Gold is again pushing nicely to the upside, and we did say that we actually still expect quite a bit more upside. The first stop for me for gold, we're going to get corrections all the time along the way, which, as you can see, we've got correction here, correction here, correction here, correction here, slightly deeper correction here, and then here, small correction. But overall, it's higher highs and higher lows. So you can see here, this is a higher high than here, and higher high than the previous, and the previous, and the previous, and so on. And also higher lows than the previous all the way through. And this is now looking nicely impulsive on the 4 hour, nicely impulsive. We've got 4 solid green candles here to the upside. So looking as though gold is pushing higher, and that will be off the back probably of some elevated inflation expectations. And I think we've got some GDP figures out sometime later next week out of America. Probably again, they'll look really robust, I would imagine. So things are still looking reasonably robust and solid for the US economy. So that is what's stoking inflation expectations and what's holding the Fed back from lowering interest rates. So there are some worrying signs.
And in some comments yesterday said, it's not looking good.
Yeah, there are diverging signs. Some of the employment figures are beginning to show signs of concern, and housing and commercial real estate are beginning to show some signs of concern now. And yet we are seeing other signs that the economy is booming. So this is the problem that the Fed's got, and the fact that inflation is still way higher than it should be, even if they increase the target rate to 3%. I'm not quite sure what the justification for that would be, but
me either. I don't know where they get. It's like such a farce with these numbers. 3%, crazy.
I mean, it just honestly, it is a joke when you say this is our target rate, and then when you can't meet the target rate, we'll just change our target rate, and then we are meeting our target rate. I mean, why have a target rate if you're not going to have a?
Only if we could run business like that, Matt, we'd be all set, right?
Sorry?
If we could just run our businesses like that, we'd be all set.
Oh, absolutely. But it's the same. If you run out of money for your monthly bills, if you just print a bit more, wouldn't it be good?
Exactly.
And they have a different set of rules that they run by. And they say, the rules don't apply to them. They can print more money without affecting things. But it does affect. It just has a longer term effect because everything they're doing is on a big, big scale. And it's like a big cruise ship. It actually takes a long, long time for cruise ship to turn direction. You know, it can move the rudder. It takes a long time, maybe a mile or more to actually change direction at all. And that's the same with what they're doing. They're doing it on a really big scale with macroeconomic data points here that they change them. And it actually takes, and we looked at that the other day, the lag effect. It takes a long time to actually have an effect. Whereas for us in our personal households, we make a change in our finances and it affects us immediately. So that's why they think they can get away with stuff, but they can't. But it's all to do with the election cycle as well, because they can get away with stuff sometimes during a particular election cycle and leave all the problems for the next guy who comes in. And that's typical around the world, not talking about America in particular, UK, anywhere. They tend to do things which they know the problems won't actually be manifested until after they're out of office and someone else has to deal with the problem. And then you can point at that next incumbent and say it's their fault because it's during their tenure the problems came. So it's as we said the other day, it's a dirty game. So just looking at time-wise, now you've got your visitor coming. We'll just look very, very quickly at SPX, S&P 500. That turned, as we said, nicely on this Fibonacci 0.618 and pushing higher at the moment. So a bit like Bitcoin and the rest, even though we smashed below long-held support and it carried on quite a bit below that, I think we could be pushing up for new highs soon. So I think we're probably set for some fair wins with the risk assets, the economy, just for the moment. I think things are looking relatively good. So I do think we'll get a good bounce back with things. And as you said, oil price, again, a little bit of a worry if oil is being priced. You know, if oil is coming down, it'll take the pressure off inflation because everything is cheaper. You know, everything from transportation to manufacturing to gas to whatever it is cheaper. So the fact that oil price is coming down, and that's probably off the back of de-escalation in the Middle East at the moment, then that's a good sign, and it'll probably take the pressure off inflation. So I do think overall now be a time to start maybe just dipping your toes in the water and thinking about going along some risk assets, obviously with sensible stop losses. Don't risk what you can't afford. Do your own due diligence, all those things.
Look at that. Look at oil, huh? Wow.
Yeah, sold off quite sharply. I mean, we were talking the other day at $87, and right now we're $81. I mean, what is that, 8% or something like that?
That's a big move. That's liquidation territory there. I'm sure there's quite a few longs got liquidated.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it just on the daily, you can see there that most of that fall is just within 2 days, yesterday and today. Big falls in the price of oil. and looking as though no real reason why it would stop falling at the moment. There's no particular indication why it would stop.
Right.
And I can't see any divergences in play there at all. So there's nothing technically. Technically, in fact, it's looking quite bearish right now. So that's a positive, I guess. And the dollar has taken a bit of a, we got very near to the target yesterday, 106.67. We got very, very close to that target. A bit like Bitcoin, we got close to the target on the downside. Dollar index, we got very close to the target on the upside, and now we're pushing down on dollar index. So again, if we see dollar index going lower, that again be positive risk assets. So I do think that we could be in for a good little run now on risk assets.
Yeah, let's see what's our what DXY. Look at that, huh? Okay.
Yeah, and then your meme coins, Doge obviously took a bit of a bloodbath, from 20 down to 14.5. But I suspect these memes will recover just as fast as they sold off.
They're calling it Meme May. They're already setting everything up. They're saying it's meme coin May.
Yeah.
Go long, put it all. Book of memes.
And then we haven't mentioned today, not that I think it's much of an issue right now, but we've got halving. Obviously, I guess it's already priced in, but it's just another bit of the narratives that's good. The limited Bitcoin supply, the diminishing supply, in opposition really to the kind of almost infinite supply that we have potentially with dollar and other currencies, fiat currencies. So the halving is just another good bit of the narrative, along with the ETF, the money flowing into ETFs, along with Hong Kong approval of ETFs. The background story actually at the moment is really good. So let's hope we get a good run.
All right. Well, let's hope. And if you guys watch the show every day and you did put your some buy orders in, hopefully you did well. And we will continue. I have with you here. I'm going to bring on my friend Max Tudenikoff. He's with the CC Forum. Thank you, Matt. It is always a pleasure. And you can stay on for the interview, or you can take off whatever you want. Another great report.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me. That's good.
Awesome. Hello, Max. How are you, sir?
Bruce. Thanks for having me. Jolly good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. Of course, Max and I, we ran into each other at Paris Blockchain Week, which is not really surprising, as he tells me he has a chateau. He has a chateau right outside of the city. Max has done some of the greatest events. I always say that when I do events, that the greatest events that I've ever been to, I'm very humbled, or not humbled, or however you want to say it, to say that are my events. But Max is one of those guys who has actually upped me on the events. This guy puts out some absolutely fantastic events. We've had the pleasure of being a part of some of them in different places, including Monaco, and as well puts together a fabulous group of people to come. So tell me a little bit, Max, and I know we just have a short time there, but tell me a little bit, Matt, about the CC Forum, maybe yourself real quick, and the CC Forum and how it was founded.
Well, I wouldn't know where to start from. CC stands for climate change, okay, but it's open to other interpretations like connectivity and collaboration. I don't mind that, or even crypto challenge if you want to go that lane there. Essentially, CC Forum is a conference, obviously, isn't forward, but essentially, it's deep down, it's a club of impact investors, really, people who are just keen to put their money where their mouth is, simply, and really to make their capitals work. Okay, with climate change only, we're covering a whole range of good causes like philanthropy, charity, social inclusion, impact. And that's where crypto comes into play, because I've always believed in crypto as a means of making social impact, of banking the unbanked, okay? And I'm very happy, Bruce, that you kindly responded to my suggestion of chairing a dedicated roundtable on how crypto can be used as a means of social inclusion. and banking their bank. So, and looking forward to hosting you. So essentially what we're doing, we're getting together under one roof, people with influence and affluence, people with capacity, to use another euphemism, okay? Simply put, we're putting together heads of family offices, investment funds, VC capital firms, angel investors, all with a whopping combined net value of hundreds of billions and potentially even over trillions of dollars, and get them brainstorm and hopefully, just cracking down on some of the most existential issues we're facing today. Because I have to be dead selfish. I'm doing this for my kids and their generation. I just don't want them to fight for food and water. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Well, it's really a great initiative. It's an amazing conference, and you've kept at it. One of the things we've noticed, of course, being in this space for so long, is staying power is key, right? I mean, you've been through it. You've been through it and emerged on the other side, and so that says a lot about everything.
You're right.
Yeah,
we're no longer in toddler stage, that's for sure. Which is, we'll be pulling off our 10th anniversary Jubilee edition in Paris. The first time in Paris, by the way. We've done 3 events in London, 2 in Monaco, one you kindly attended, 2 in Dubai, 1 in Bahrain, and 1 in LA, but never once in Paris. So we're doing it the first time here. Hopefully that'll live up to many minds' expectations, really. You're absolutely right. We've been endorsed or patronized by the likes of the late monarch Queen Elizabeth. Obviously, she wasn't attending any of our events, but she kindly wrote us a blessing from Buckingham Palace. We've had the likes of Prince Albert of Monaco participating and patronizing our events in person. The likes of Prime Minister of Bahrain. The list can go on and on. I'm not here just to show off, really, but what I'm just saying is that people are no longer laughing at yours truly the way they did 5 or 6 years ago, just in the embryonic state. Man, another green finance conference. Come on, give me a break, man. Such a crowded space. Everyone's shut up.
Your talent and an ability to bring together big names is something that cannot be ignored. Whether it's in the halls of Parliament there in London, or the palaces around. I don't know what else I can say or allowed to say. The palaces in different places. It is quite impressive. I think part of that is, of course, the direction of the forum, right? And it's about doing good things and sustainability and these types of things. What does the CC Forum, what does it stand for?
Climate change. It stands for climate change. But again, it's just not confined to that cause only. We're covering the whole, we're taking this holistic approach. And I firmly believe that it's by including the domains like, I don't know, healthcare, education, real estate, finance, fintech. We're able to bootstrap ourselves from the fine mess we're in at the moment, humanity-wise. That's what it is. Absolutely right. We attach a great deal of importance to its being high profile. It's always 5-star or onwards hotel. It's a very diverse program across 4 days, and I'm very pleased to tell you that this time around we'll be doing this at the Intercontinental. The Grand Hotel, one of the finest specimens of Napoleon III architecture, boasting a whopping 20-meter ceiling, lavishly decorated. It's right in the heart of Paris, next door to Opera House. We'll be having a lot of VIP networking events before, during, and after the forum. But of course, the essence of what we're doing is connecting, and I'm just emphasizing this, connecting the most discerning of investors, be they institutional or private investors, to the groundbreaking revolutionary startups. And thankfully, we have galore on both sides.
Well, that's really what it's all about, right? It's the matchmaking part of it that is, well, that's the fuel. That's what makes it happen. So a lot of and what I've experienced at the CC Forum is that networking can be so powerful. If you are a startup, if you are raising money, or if this is your niche, and it doesn't have to be green, by the way, it
Absolutely.
can be something else.
It's not black.
Yeah, the ability to get in front of those people is presented here. That will be presented in Paris. I'm confident of that. It does. We're tracking it. We are tracking it. Of course, Max and I, we caught up a little bit there in Paris. Paris is beautiful, by the way. If you haven't been to Paris and you need a good reason, this could be it. I know I talked to a few of the projects as well that we're working with that are kind of in the place, and it's an interesting proposition for sure. So walk us through. Tell us a little bit about this is the 10th edition.
It is unbelievable, so it is.
It is unbelievable. I agree. The 10th edition.
Well, much of the content of the 10th anniversary edition will center around emerging technologies and how that could be put to good use whilst resolving sustainability issues in the broader sense of the word. Okay, climate change is probably on the top of the agenda, but also social inclusion and whatnot, really. So when it comes to blockchain, AI, Web3, it will all be present there in manifold, sessions and workshops and roundtables. So it's still part and parcel of what we're doing. Okay, the idea is really nudge and budge. The some of the biggest players. I'm very pleased. I won't be announcing this, but obviously nominus and adiosa, to say the Latin way. But we will be hosting a whole plethora of top chaps running multi-million, multi-billion funds and family offices, and we'll have them aligned with our mission and ethos, which is really contributing to good causes. My heart as a event organizer, and I'm surely not the only pebble on the beach, perhaps not even the shiniest, but I'm good at what I'm doing because I get very important people together. I'm no one important myself, but I'm getting together extremely important people, and I'm bloody good at that. But my heart of it, that of an event organizer, rejoices when there are deals made before and after the forum. Okay, when money is invested into fantastic startups, and you'd be just absolutely flabbergasted if I were to mention you what sort of projects there are around. Things like, growing rice in the desert, or extracting carbon dioxide from the areas, storing like nuggets of black gold, or extracting energy from neutrino that's probably haven't even heard about, or just using waste fuel, food waste as an alternative to diesel fuel. The list can go on and on and on. That's what I'm really keen to do. And I'm very pleased we're right at the spearhead of this movement.
Amazing. Well, I know as well, Macron has done he's done a good job. I was actually impressed at how much the Parisians, how much the people in Paris love Macron. They love the guy.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, you would know more than me, but
I'm the wrong person to speak to that anyway, because I'm not French. I live in France, but they hate me here. What I'm just saying is that it's fair to say, it's absolutely true that France, and Paris in particular, has now become one of the hubs financially, sustainability-wise. It's clearly something you can't deny, really. And just on that note, that might be of interest to your audience. I was received by President Macron's senior advisor last week at the Palace of Elysium.
Amazing.
Because all the palace knows about CC Forum coming, and we were discussing the possibility of the number one being associated in this way or another. We still don't know. Right. Whether or not it's going to be a personal appearance or might be some sort of wish, but anyway, it's very much in the pipeline, and I can bet my socks I've never seen so high ceilings anywhere in the world. Although I was admitted from the back door, only like 12 meters.
Really? Oh man, that's great. We got to see the Louvre Museum. They rented it when we were there last week, and it was absolutely amazing. So I can only imagine what the actual palace that they're still using is. So as you move forward here, and we only have a couple of minutes left, what are your plans for the next, let's say, the rest of the year for the CC Forum?
Okay, well, we're fairly booked for both this year and next year. Hopefully, after we pull off the 10th edition in Paris, we're moving. You wouldn't believe where, to one of the top African countries, and I'm not going to tell you which one, because that's going to just immediately trigger off waves of interest, which is good. But it's one of the 3 biggest economies in Africa, and we see it as a Pan-African CC investment forum, hosted by the state. That's the reason why we're hosting the head of the state, would you believe it, in Dubai 3 months ago to COP28. And as far as 2025 is concerned, we'll be bringing the forum to Brazil, and we're hoping to do the 12th edition back to back with COP30, but not in Belém, in the middle of nowhere. I still have no idea how they're going to receive all those heads of state in this Belém. We'll be doing this along the lines of Rio or Sao Paulo, a few days prior to COP28, because they have the infrastructure and things. That's the long and the short of that. And just to wrap up with that, there are a lot of chaps, really top-level chaps, who just can't attend for what reason, because they're just busy with their schedules. So what we'll be doing to fill in the gap, we'll be launching at CC Forum Paris the so-called CC Forum Club. What that is, it will be just a community of our sort of investors and gatherings for dinners and presentations, 20, 30, 50 people all over the globe, all around the globe, not just in London, Paris, whatever, throughout the year. That's what we'll be doing.
Amazing. Well, I tell you, we're really looking forward to it. David and I, we talked last night, and it does work out for us well. Paris and then Switzerland would be our next kind of stop as we move along. And I appreciate the talk that we had, and as well the workshop that we were putting together. I think that'll be absolutely fantastic.
And I'm more than happy just to I'll speak to my team to establish special rates for the audience that comes from your circle, Bruce, because I just want to be part of that. So we'll make it very beneficial and favorable.
Amazing. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. The great Max Tutenikoff with the CC Forum, the 10th edition in beautiful Paris, May 29th through June 1st. I will have to say, if you're in Europe, it's kind of a don't miss event. If you can get over there, if you're close to there, or if you have business that aligns there, I recommend you check it out. You can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Max, but make sure you tell him I sent you.
Of course.
To me, we'll get you set up. Max, thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for having me, and best of luck with the rest of the day. Bye.
You got it. You too. Any final thoughts that you'd like to say?
Well, as I'm saying, there's so much I would like to share, but it just virtually would not be possible within this short span of time.
Yes.
One message I just wanted to get across, though, for those who are really interested in taking part in CC4 in Paris, either on the investors side or on the startup side, go to our website, which is cc-forum.com. Very simple. There are hundreds of articles and interviews with yours truly. So I'm just so sorry, Bruce. You're not the only one who's just been interviewing me over the last. There are hundreds of those, but all the information is there, and very much happy to host you in any capacity. I'm really looking forward to this being a buzzy and highly beneficial event for everyone. Really, we've got to kill it.
Amazing. Well, always a pleasure, Max. Thanks so much for coming on. Guys, make sure to check it out, cc-forum.com. If you have questions about it, let me know.
Hyphen, dash. You can call it dash, yeah.
Hyphen or dash, like a phone number. Or you can just Google it, CC Forum, and it pops up too. And you see a lot of great articles that he mentions about yours truly there, Max Studenikoff. It's on the front of some magazines and everything as well.
Looking forward to hosting you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Cheers. Awesome. All right, folks. Well, we have done it again. Another great show. The Impact Money Show. We are really just making the rounds here. I know we are expanding into New York. We're expanding into Florida. We're expanding into California. We're expanding. We're going to be in front of more people. If you want to get on TV If you want to reach millions of people, millions, tens of millions of people, then we are the people to talk to. You can reach out to David at Sir David Porter on X, or myself at Networks Manager. You can also find us any other ways. Very easy to find on the web and everything else. But reach out. We have several different ways that you can participate. And I think it would be a great, as long as things align, it'd be great to have you. Cheers. See you in a few hours.
Will be great to meet you there. And we are the greatest investment show in the world. Stay tuned to stay lucrative. See you tomorrow.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.